last two races, but second and a first time before. He was with Gary Moore actually beforehand, but he's been sold out the stable. I wouldn't think Gary lets too many go who thinks can win. So I think that's a bit of a negative. Lomu's Legend at 460, another one with a chance here. Usually runs a good race for the Bowens. Let's join John Blance with the call as they jump away for race 6 at Fosslas.
13 fences to jump and quite a bit of competition for the leadership at the opening obstacle. You Say Nothing is the leader. In second position, rather awkward there, was Time to Dazzle. As Tears Go By is also prominent. They're followed by Roger in the claret and blue colours.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Yes, this is Racing Across America, and I am Seth Merrow, and I'm going to change my background here, see if I can do that. Yes, magically change the background to Racing Across America. Seth Merrow in the studio on this Sunday morning. OTB Live will be coming up a little bit later, and we'll look at some New York and some Churchill coming up probably just a little before noontime because 12:10 post today at Aqueduct. So keep that in mind. 1 o'clock still at Churchill. We'll have other action as well, Saratoga Harness this afternoon and more. So looking forward to that. But this morning, we're going to go back, as we usually do on a Sunday, recap some of the action from yesterday and beyond, some interesting news and notes from the past week or few days or so. So all of that coming up on this edition of Racing Across America. Don't forget, as usual on a Sunday here at the Clubhouse Racebook, we would love to have you come down and join us, watch all the racing action, and enjoy all the football action as well. Throughout the NFL season, here at the Clubhouse Racebook, football Sundays, you can put your name on one of the squares, maybe you win a jersey or prizes, have a little extra fun here on Sundays at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. All right, let's get to it. Stakes action going back to Friday. They had two stakes on Friday at Aqueduct. And again, it is Aqueduct now. Belmont at Aqueduct wrapped up last Sunday, week ago today. So starting this week, it is the more traditional Aqueduct meet. We don't have to remember to put the Belmont moniker in front anymore, as it were. So at Aqueduct on Friday, a couple of nice stakes races. Kicked off with the Pebbles for the 3-year-old fillies going a mile on the turf. The way Saffie Joseph is going, to let a Saffie horse get away as the longest price on the board. But as we watch here, it's going to be number 2, No Mo Candy, getting it done under Johnny V. John Velasquez scores. Oversubscribed, was the 95 cent to $1 favorite. The number 6 horse and number 8, Way to Me Marie, will wind up running third in here. But you can see No Mo Candy, 18-1, longest price on the board. Oversubscribed, just got going too late, winds up a length and a quarter behind. So a relatively easy victory there for No Mo Candy at $38 and change. Again, for a Saffie Joseph runner that had some talent. I mean, I'm not saying the horse should have gone off as the favorite by any means. Had only had 3 starts, but a close-up second and 2 wins. The numbers were maybe a little bit lighter than you would have wanted, and I'm sure that's bettors, including myself, focus a lot on the buyers these days. But it's just, as I say, a tool in the toolbox. And this horse was on a steady progression of improving numbers, had a win over the track, and followed it up. Career start number 4, career win number 3, stakes win number 1, and a graded stakes. Good-looking effort. Saffie and company have a nice 4-year-old turfer, 4-year-old filly turfer going forward next year, you would have to think, off of that performance. But as I say, Escapes at $36, the longest price on the board for Safi and John Velasquez. Combining with the favorite, you wound up with an exact $108 in there. So again, if you looked at Safi and what he's been doing going back a few months here, you could have made a case there and maybe wound up with a nice little score on Friday. Also on Friday was the Autumn Days for the Phillies and Mares, going 6 on the grass. Oh, and let me note, because Safi did say after the win by No Mo Candy that they might look at the American Oaks out at Santa Anita towards the end of the year, day after Christmas, I think. That card, the Boxing Day card, mile and a quarter on the grass, grade 1 event. That would be quite the. I mean, off of this effort, I don't blame them. But in career start number 5, to take the shot out there, and you would think would get some action, because again, that was a nice performance. So there's no Mo Candy. Again, the Autumn Days was also on the card on Friday. I had Love Appeals in my mix. I used Don't Look Back at All on top. Irad Ortiz, runner for Christophe Clement and West Point. Unfortunately, that one faltered a little bit and wound up 6th as the 2-1 second choice, albeit yesterday. West Point made up for it nicely, both in New York and at Churchill. But again, the West Point horse, you can see just kind of fading out of it here. But coming up to get the victory, it will be number 10, Love Appeals, another Christophe Clement runner. Dylan Davis on board, continues to ride very well. Golden Hostess second, Risk Threshold third. But Love Appeals, nice little career so far for this one. A stakes quality runner really throughout the career, has kind of bounced around stakes and some optional claimers and whatnot. I would say more stakes than anything on the resume on the page. And overall, came into yesterday, 12 stars, 4 wins, a second, 4 thirds, and well over $250,000 in the bank. So, again, a nice little runner for Clement and company there. 4-year-old filly. So, you would think that. I didn't see any plans for that one going forward, but you would think we will see that one again next year, perhaps anyway. And given that last year we saw the horse up in Saratoga, this summer we did not. Took a couple of shots down at Monmouth during the summer, but in the Clement barn, I think seeing the horse up at Saratoga next summer is certainly a possibility. Yesterday at Aqueduct, we also had some nice stakes action, and things kicked off early-ish with the Hill Prince Grade 3 event. I mentioned it yesterday. I always mention it when these 3-year-olds are on the turf. Love the subdivision, but one of the reasons I like it, they're important races or nice stakes races from the start of the year to the end of the year. And I was saying yesterday, I think it's the Tropical Park Derby that's toward the end of the year down at Gulfstream. They start the year with a couple of 3-year-old turf stakes. And then, we have 3-year-old turf stakes up at Saratoga, but really venues all around the country. And this one, a late season Grade 3 event for the 3-year-olds on the turf, the Hill Prince, $200,000, a mile and an eighth on the grass. Cagino was my pick in here, but I had Deterministic right underneath. Cagino, nice West Point. Part of that West Point, as you'll see, they had other performances that were even better than this, but it was a nice second for Cagino, who's had a nice career. I had that one on top. I was a little bit surprised the betting public went for Deterministic, who's had a funny career, had some promise early on. Deterministic, here's the number 3, and Cagino's there coming late. You can see in the yellow West Point colors, but again, it was too late to get to the winner. And Deterministic had that funny career where wins the Gotham in only start number 2. That then gives them the confidence to, let's take our shot in the Wood. Did not run well there. They went in the Peter Pan, did not run particularly well there. And then they said, let's try the turf. And since going to the turf, now we are a couple of wins, couple of seconds, and a third, all in graded stakes action. 2 2 starts before yesterday, had won the Virginia Derby, a Grade 3 event, puts the Grade 3 Hill Prince on the resume. So again, nice little 3-year-old turfer that had a 3-year-old dirt career that seemed promising. So it's been a kind of a funny resume for Deterministic. And as I said, I was a little bit surprised that one was favored over Cugino, albeit favored on the morning line. That's the way it played out. So you got Deterministic at $5.50. Cugino was the second choice. And those two combined, the two logicals, you got a 17 and change dollar exacta. So that's okay. Royal Majesty running third in there. I had that one in the third slot as well, and the betting public made that one the third choice. So it played out kind of logically, but as I say, $17 exacta for kind of a logical result. Nothing wrong with that. If you jumped on board a little bit later in the day down at Aqueduct, it was the Aqueduct Turf Sprint Championship. And I want Senbei in here, who was coming out of the Belmont Turf Sprint Championship. And under Manny Franco, Senbei went off as the 3-1 choice. Lukewarm. It was a competitive bunch of turf sprinters in here. But Senbei just never offered up anything in here and winds up 8th in the field of 10. It's a dead heat, though. Look at this finish. It'll be number 6, Allegan. Number 11, Works For Me. I was really not on board either of those. Betting public kind of like number 6, Allegan at 7-2. Number 11, Works For Me, was 23-1, second longest price on the board. And as they come to the wire, bam, 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 bam. And it is a dead heat. And right there behind, Jean Valjean, the number 4 horse. It was a dead heat for win, a head back. To me, it looked closer than that. But it was all 3 of those, bam, bam, right on the wire. But declared a dead heat, number 6, Allegan, under Irad Ortiz for Ned Allard. Came out of a third behind Senbei in the Belmont Turf Sprint Championship and turns the tables today. Works For Me. Escaped from the also eligible list. That may account a little bit for the price. Was 12-1 on the morning line. Went off again, second longest price on the board at 23-1. It was Dylan Davis on board. Again, continuing to ride just very, very well. Came out of a third place, finished in the Carl Place last time, sprinting on the turf. So both of these coming out of third place finishes and switching things up a little bit. Jean Valjean, and I said Works For Me, went off at 23-1. Jean Valjean went off at 21-1 and wound up again a close-up third, trained by Elizabeth Merriman, who can certainly get it done, excuse me, with turf sprinters. So I was on the outside looking in on this one, as mine just did not offer up a whole lot of anything in here, particularly as I say, Senbei just kind of dull, never really threatened at all in that one. And finally, on the stakes side of things yesterday at Aqueduct, as mentioned earlier, you would see a couple of nice performances on the day in stakes from West Point runners. One of those being Integration, and this one I did have on the top. Integration is going to be the number 2 horse. Betting public also like this one at 6-5. Flavian Prat on board with a crafty ride. Again, number 2 is Integration. Getting the late run, nicely timed by Flavian Prat, and boom. And again, it's West Point, not in their silks, as this is a partnership with others. So on this day, was in the silks of some of the other partners. But a Shug McGahee trainee, Flavian Prat on board. Horse that's had a very nice career. And as I say, I put it on top yesterday. And I didn't see that. Let me see if I can quickly maybe pull up. I did not see buyer figures. I'll check. Our friend Steve Vick often posts the stakes buyers the day after. And let me see if he has done that quickly. Because I'll be interested to see. It doesn't. Doesn't look like, but maybe a little later today. But Integration had come in with 3 triple-digit buyers on the resume. He's been a nice runner so far for Shug, West Point and Company. 4 wins and 9 career starts. Now 5 for 10. When you have a horse that's winning half of their starts, and particularly in graded stakes company, that's a nice runner. And so they have a nice little 4-year-old verging on a 5-year-old season now. Integration. A nice performance. Limited Liability, the number 5, ran second. Another Shug runner that I also had in my mix. This one was coming off a triple-digit win in the rich Nashville Gold Cup down at Kentucky Downs. And then running third was Rebel Red, Cherie DeVoe runner, who was coming off a win down at Keeneland most recently. Jose Ortiz in town for Rebel Red's ride, and a nice little third there as Cherie DeVoe continues a really, really nice season and a nice performance for that one with the 3rd place finish. All right, that takes you through some of the New York action. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll look at a little Churchill Downs. We've got one from Woodbine. They had 3 stakes scheduled and only got 2 of them done. But I pulled up one of the replay, and I'll get more into that in a moment on the Woodbine side of things. And then, as I say, some news and notes and whatnot, all coming up when Racing Across America continues. Stay tuned.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Seth Merrow in the studio on this Sunday morning. As always, thanks for joining us. Shifting over to Churchill yesterday, they had a nice stakes card as well. We had Tony Kalo on with us yesterday. If you were listening to Tony, it was a nice day. Tony yesterday talked about the 2 stakes, and they bookended a nice allowance that could have been a stake. And we talked about all those, including the Dream Supreme. 6 furlongs for the ladies. I like Mystic Pleasure in here. That one is going to run second. I had Uppercase in my mix. That will be the winner. The betting public went with Spirit Wind. Spirit Wind's the number 4. It was Safi and Mike Smith. This one won a stake this summer up at Saratoga for Mike Smith. He came in to ride for Safi. Spirit Wind, the number 3. You can see that one just couldn't get going until too late and did have some traffic trouble, Spirit Wind, who again went off as the even money favorite. But it will be Uppercase getting it done. The number 2 horse there, Evan Roman on board for Paulo Lobo at 9-2. Mystic Pleasure, my pick, and the betting public second choice winds up second. But it was clearly the victory by Uppercase. I mean, there was no sweat there, really. Stakes debut for this one, but off a pretty good-looking season so far. 6 exacta finishes and 8 starts prior to yesterday, and then steps into stakes company and manages to score, and again, pretty nicely. Mystic Pleasure ran okay under Florent Giraud for Rudy Brissett. That one was coming off of a nice little optional claiming a victory over at Keeneland, ran well. And again, Spirit Wind, there was a little trouble there, then got going too late. You did get the momentum and floated in for a third as the even money favorite. But with the trouble and the kind of subsequent late start, then could manage no better than third in the Dream Supreme. As mentioned, if you were listening yesterday, Tony Kalo, like the little Horace Mann in here. If you listened and like both of ours, I like Track Phantom. And I said Track Phantom, I liked him, excuse me, kind of throughout the career, and started the career with a little bit of promise on the 3-year-old side of things. End of last year, won the Gun Runner down at the fairgrounds. Then the beginning of this year, won the LeCompte, second in the Risen Star, wound up fourth in the Louisiana Derby, and then 11th and well beaten in the Kentucky Derby, and hadn't been seen since then. Now was coming back and for the first time facing older as a 3-year-old off a long layoff. But I like Track Phantom, and but given that you have to think this is the start of, let's get him into the 4-year-old season. So this wasn't the goal necessary. This was the starting point. And so I looked for others. And the more I looked, the more I thought, I'll stick with Track Phantom, particularly if he gets away at a little bit of a price. I don't want to sit on the sideline if he runs well in the return. And I think he did run well. Track Phantom, the number 8, will wind up second in here as the second choice of the betting public. But the aforementioned Horace Mann, who Tony Kalo gets it done at 5-1, almost 6-1. You got $13.90 on Horace Mann here. Martin Garcia on board, Track Phantom running second, and Gulfstream Way running third. Do we have the video on that? Okay, no video there. Take my word for it, though. Tony Kalo scoring with Horace Mann at just under $14. And again, nice little optional claim or allowance. And like Track Phantom, others in here were stepping out of stakes company. So worth watching Horace Mann going forward, worth watching Track Phantom. Certainly, as I say, this I think was kind of the launching pad to get to the end of the year and into that 4-year-old season. And finally, on the stakes side of things, down at Churchill yesterday, it was the River City. And I said when I talked to Tony, just over the years, this late season turf race down at Churchill, to me, always produces runners you have to watch going forward, into the later portion of this year, but more importantly, early portion of next year. It seems to be a productive race most years. I use Reckoning Force here on top. Went off at 7-2. Reckoning Force is going to wind up second for Brendan Walsh and Tyler Gaffleone. But it's our friends from West Point. You can see there the West Point colors, number 8, Battle of Normandy. Shug McGahee, West Point, getting it done. And this was another pick by Tony. I had this one in the mix, but Tony had Battle of Normandy on top. So once again, if you used Tony's pick and my pick, you wound up maybe with a little exact action. And the exacta wasn't bad. It was just under $50. But it's Battle of Normandy over Reckoning Force. Gigante runs third in there. But Battle of Normandy, again, nice productive runner for West Point and company throughout the career. Had come in with 12 wins, 4 firsts, 3 seconds, and a third. Now 5 for 13. Solid numbers. And yesterday's went over $500,000 in earnings and 13 career starts. So again, congratulations on the day, the weekend, some placings and some stakes wins to our friends at West Point. I saw Tommy Bellhouse and Joe Bianca in the winner's circle down in New York with their victory there. I thought maybe I'd see Terry Finley at Churchill, but I did not. But they had a nice crowd in there. I also didn't see Jason Blewett anywhere. He's probably back down at his Florida base now, or I missed, because, again, in New York and in Kentucky, there was a pretty good sized winner's circle there with the West Point folks. So again, congratulations to them on kind of a fun, decent day. Obviously, yesterday with stakes wins in New York and in Churchill and Kentucky as well. All right, before we go to another break, we will take a look at one stake from Woodbine. I mentioned yesterday they had a nice stakes card, and it was highlighted by the return of two King's Plate winners. Paramount Prince, who won last year, Caitlin, her greatness, who won this year. Unfortunately, it didn't quite play out that way. I'll get to that in a moment. But we did get to see at least Caitlin, her greatness. They were in different races. Caitlin, her greatness was scheduled in the Maple Leaf, ran in the Maple Leaf. Caitlin, her greatness in here is the number 13 in front. And you felt like she had it in her back pocket here in the stretch, but then you could see she started to tire at the 1.25 miles, and she's going to fade to be fourth. Elysian Field, who was certainly a player for Mark Tassi, coming in off a second in the Ontario Matron most recently, picked up the pieces. Caitlin, her greatness, and I read online, always have mixed feelings. I like when jockeys get aggressive and kind of, let me take control of the race. I got the best horse. Boom. But there was a little bit of criticism that maybe Rafael Hernandez moved a little early and opened up a little early with the favorite, 5-2 favorite, Caitlin, her greatness. I mean, 20/20 hindsight, you can make that case clearly. But I don't know. I kind of like the move. Made the move on the turn and opened things up a little bit and looked in the stretch like this is in the bag. And it was not in the bag. As I say, she fades to run fourth. Millie Girl runs second. Queen Regent runs third. But Elysian Field gets it done for Mark Tassi as the second choice at $8.70. And Caitlin, of greatness, disappoints a little bit, but she's certainly a very good runner. We talked about her when we had Elliot Walden on up at Saratoga. We talked about her with Kevin Attard before she headed to the QE2 down at Keeneland, where she ran a nice third. So faded a little bit late there, gave it a nice try. So far, a nice career. I haven't heard anything about what the game plan is for her going forward. You would hope they will plan on a 4-year-old season because she's been fun to watch so far. So would love to see that continue. And I mentioned, they also ran the Bessarabian, which was second of 3 stakes. And there was a breakdown there. There had been a breakdown in workouts yesterday morning, and there had been a breakdown in one of the early races at Woodbine. So after the Bessarabian race 8, they canceled the last couple, including that stakes race where Paramount Prince was entered. Ron Gierkink, who covers Woodbine for the Daily Racing Forum, wrote that Woodbine canceled the final 2 races Saturday over safety concerns, with the Grade 3 Autumn rescheduled to next Saturday. 3 breakdowns, beginning with a worker shortly after 8 a.m. The second race had a breakdown, and then the horse broke down in the Bessarabian. And so, according to this article yesterday, training on the main track was canceled for today, but the 10-race card was still scheduled for this afternoon. Well, subsequently this morning, Woodbine sent out a press release that today it has been canceled as a precautionary measure to prioritize the safety and well-being of the horses and jockeys. They're taking a look at the track, performing track maintenance, and they expect to be back with the next scheduled race day, I think. But when I read the Ron Gierkink article, I thought, how do you cancel the last couple of races due to the track and then no training? But you're going to – my thinking yesterday was it's going to be tough for them to get back in gear for racing by Sunday afternoon. That's the way it worked out. So no Woodbine today. Hopefully everything gets worked out there and they come back safely next week. All right, we'll take one more break. When we come back, have some fun videos to take a look at and some news and notes and whatnot. And then we'll probably wrap up early because I would think the NYRA pregame show probably coming up sooner rather than later. But we have, as I say, a fun little segment coming up. So stay tuned. Racing Across America continues.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. You'll get live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform, and best of all, you get track prices. CapitalOTBBet.com. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
Haven't signed up for a Capital OTB account yet? Now's the time to take advantage of the sign-up bonus. Open up a new account with $200 or more, bet $400 by the end of the month, and receive a bonus $200 into your account. Plus, you can take advantage of everything an OTB account has to offer. Wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, past performances, online promotions, and more. Sign up today and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at CapitalOTB.com.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Fall Rock. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a three-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. And sometimes, again, it's racing around the globe. Last Monday night our time, Tuesday their time, the race that stops the nation, the Melbourne Cup, was run down in Australia. And there was some fun stories here, not to mention the betting side of things. So we'll get to that and get get to the jockey in just a moment. But the Melbourne Cup Grade 1 event, about 2 miles on the turf. There were 29 scheduled to enter, and I didn't pull up a full chart, so I don't know how many wound up running. But 29 at 2 miles, and even if we had a few scratches, this was still a large field. And we're going to take a look at the stretch run here, and Knight's Choice. He's right next to, you see the horse with the yellow hood, the yellow blinkers in the hood, right kind of in the middle of everything there. Well, Knight's Choice, the eventual winner, it winds up right next to that one. You can see the yellow cap, yellow sleeves, and the red middle portion of and they're coming through right here. And it is Knight's Choice and Warp Speed who are both making the move, but it will be Knight's Choice kind of getting it done. And I think we have the photo here. It was very close when they got, I mean, you talk about very close after 2 miles, and horse kind of weaves through traffic in that last quarter mile and gets it done, as you see there, by a smidge over Warp Speed. Knight's Choice over Warp Speed. And as I said, the first storyline here is Knight's Choice comes into the race with a 2024 record of 8 starts, no wins, a couple of seconds, and a third. In the 3 previous starts, well, I'll give you the 4 previous starts, actually. 5th, 14th, 16th, and 9th. So the betting public kind of ignored the horse, not surprisingly. Ignored the horse, and I pulled this off of our OTB results site. So I don't know if the pools were commingled and these were the same prices. He was a big price there, too. But I'm not sure it's exactly the same over there and here. But regardless, the prices here in America, Knight's Choice, $221 to win, $83 to place, $42 to show. Warp Speed was a price himself, $25 to place. The $1 exacta, Knight's Choice over Warp Speed, $1 got you $2,644 on the exacta. So it was a surprise, certainly, for everyone involved. The race that stops a nation probably stopped a few hearts for folks who maybe had a few bucks on that one. They looked up and saw, oh, well, there we go. That's a pretty good score there for Knight's Choice. But the subsequent story was maybe even more interesting. Jockey on board was Robbie Dolan. And subsequently, some of the connections tweeted out. And down in Australia, they may have been plugged into this, but most of the rest of us, I'm sure, weren't. Robbie Dolan, the jockey, had competed a couple of years ago on the Australian version of The Voice. And if you're not familiar, I'm not a big one. I have seen commercials and whatnot, but it's in one of the singing competition shows. So folks get up, sing. There's a team of kind of celebrity singers there that then react to them, and you go through a process. And it's like it's a spin-off, a competition to American Idol. But a couple of years ago, Robbie Dolan, the jockey, was on The Voice and progressed very nicely. I don't know enough about The Voice. I subsequently read, and he made it to the last 24, which I guess is a good cut. But he was on the show for at least a few shows, coming out and singing. And online, they have some of those performances. You can probably find all of them. They have some of them, and folks tweeted them out and whatnot. And I just thought it was kind of mind-boggling. So I thought we'd pull up a few minutes going back to a couple of years ago. Jockey, again, this is a jockey Robbie Dolan, his performance a couple of years ago, again, the Australian version of The Voice. There it is.
Face, but now that you're gone, I'm feeling about is that look on your face. So, before you go, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? If only I'd have known you had a storm to weather. So, before you go, I could have said to make it all stop hurting. Accuse me how your mind could make you feel so worthless. Oh, before you go.
It's crazy. The Melbourne winning jockey at $221 a couple of years ago on the Australia, but then it plays more into it. I guess he has maybe a side career as a singer, because he met the connections behind Knight's Choice, from what I read, a couple of years ago when he was singing on a cruise ship. And he struck up a conversation, realized they had horse racing in common, and he winds up connecting with this person to the point where he's riding some of the horses, and winds up, because of the singing, riding the winner of the Melbourne Cup. So it's just kind of a crazy story there. And as I say, when I saw the clips on Twitter, I thought, I have to pull that in, because the whole thing just, $221 winner with a nice run coming through the field, and then that whole singing side of things and connected with the connections, as I say, made for a fun story last Tuesday down under in Australia. And finally, and again, looks like they're going to fire up the NYRA show shortly, but we have just a few minutes here. A couple of weeks ago, we made our road trip out to the Finger Lakes, and I've had some video sitting in my camera since. Finally got a chance to sit down and edit things together. Just walked around the facility. It's the second year in a row we've made this trip out there on this Monday in October. New York Breeders' Futurity, a couple other stakes. And the second year in a row we've had summer-like weather. It was a great day, beautiful day, nice little crowd there. We had cut-ins all afternoon. Ed Fazone from Eddie F's Racing. They had Butta in the New York Breeders' Futurity. We had him sit in with us. Todd Height out there. Anthony Stabile sat in as well. Dave Mattice, the handicapper out there. We really had a nice... Mike McAdam from the Daily Gazette, a Rochester native, was in town coincidentally, so he kind of sat in and co-hosted a little bit. It was really a fun afternoon. But I managed to walk around a bit and grab some footage of the facility. If you've never been out there, I continue to tout it. It's right down the thruway. You get off the thruway exit, and 10 minutes, you're there. Nice little facility. This is going to include, I walked around the facility and grabbed a little here and there, just to give you a little flavor of that. But we had trainer Mike Ferraro sit in with us at one point. Coincidentally, we're on the day where he is on the verge of 3,500 career victories. So we had him sit in with us before, I think it was the 6th, and he said, I got one coming up here. So I got to be done by the time the race goes off. He said, I understand. At that point, he was one away. Subsequently wins the race. So we grabbed a little bit of him down in the winner's circle. He had a great response after career win number 3,500. Also, as I was down bouncing around the winner's circle, I saw the track photographer, Stephanie Van Minos, bouncing around. And so I thought I'd take a minute to talk to her a little bit about what being a track photographer is like. And then the New York Breeders' Futurity itself, it was won by Bold Fortune, a George Weaver trainee, who I think has a nice little career ahead. This was a nice win. And we caught up with Dylan Davis, who was on board, came out to the Finger Lakes, was on board Bold Fortune after the victory in the New York Breeders' Futurity. We grabbed him as well. So here we go. Again, going back a couple of weeks ago to our nice road trip. Thanks again to everybody out the Finger Lakes for their hospitality, but just give you a little flavor of the Finger Lakes and our visit there a couple of weeks ago.
If that happens, I think Maggie
Cole gave him a great ride, and we got there. Very happy.
What's it like to hit a milestone like this after,
I was aiming for 35. Now I think I'm going to go for 5,000.
for trainer percent, which was claimed by Mike Ferraro Jr.
How did you get started as a track photographer?
I knew somebody that needed help, and I showed up at the racetrack not knowing what the heck this place was, and I got addicted, and I never left. So
And for
here
folks,
I am.
for folks who may be out there and curious, what is the life of a racetrack photographer like? Take us through a typical day.
Well, actually, it's pretty cushy. I don't have to be here till the races start. So, like 1 o'clock, you show up. Don't have to have an alarm. You get to deal with all sorts of type of characters. That's the most challenging part of my job, the characters. The horses, those are easy. It's the people. No, I love the people. That's why I've been here for so long.
Talk a little bit about that, the people and the characters, the jockeys, the trainers, the grooms, and whatnot.
You have people from all over the world, all different types of walks of life. You've got, just this in between the spectrum. It's just anyone you can think of, they're here. And that's what keeps me coming back every day, because you just never know what you're going to run into, and the stories that are going to occur, and the adventures that you're going to have at the racetrack. Like, seriously.
Under whose radar's trying to go with them. Butter and the rest are all giving futile chase. At the 16th pole, it's all Bold Fortune. He came to run today. Shedaloot along late for second. Over under whose radar. Butter was fourth. Wow, final time for Bold Fortune was 1:10.3. He crushed them in the New York Breeders' Futurity Stakes.
Yeah, he was coming into good form here today. He was training well in the mornings. With his first start, he was just learning things, but I knew there was more to come with him. At the second start, he showed what he had been doing in the mornings. He excelled in the maiden class there by 10 lengths at Aqueduct. And then coming in today, he was coming in good form. I love the way he was warming up without the pony. just keeping in mind he's a young horse and new tracks, so just trying to keep encouragement up with him. The plan was to break sharp and well, whether on the lead or second. He had found himself on the lead and got into good rhythm there into the turn. They had pushed him into the second quarter, but it was no worries with me. He was in good shape there. After that, kept him to task at the quarter pole on. He responded very well. And that last eighth of a mile, he coasted home nicely in well-dominated fashion.
Again, thanks to everybody out there at Finger Lakes for their hospitality. Enjoyed the visit, certainly. And again, 2 years in a row, we've been out there in October, and it's August-like weather. You can see it was a gorgeous day, nice little crowd, fun stakes action. And Bold Fortune is one to keep your eyes on. When you have a nice little New York bred, they will try open company, I'm sure. So far, 3 starts, including that nice win a couple of weeks ago in the New York Breeders' Futurity. Started the career up at Saratoga with a third behind the next out winner, then crushed a maiden field down at Belmont at Aqueduct, and then gets that stakes victory. George Weaver trainee, Bold Fortune, worth watching going forward. Also, as I say, Mike Ferraro gets the win in race 6 with lifetime guarantee. Kai Barakoa on board. And that's career victory number 3,500. And as I noted, it was fun to see him down in the winner's circle and get the quote. He said, I was aiming for 3,500. Now I'm going to go for 5,000. A guy who started his career, I pulled up the Equibase stats, started his career in 1971. And as I say, we had talked when we did live cut-ins all afternoon, so we had him sit in with us for a while, and we talked about probably his most famous horse, certainly notable in my racing memory. Fiorito was a Mike Ferraro trainee. And I always say Fiorito changed the New York bred program, I think. As a New York bred, he won back in 1981, the Whitney, broke through the starting gate. Les Hewlett on board from the Finger Lakes, broke through the starting gate, reloaded, and then won the Whitney again back in 1981. Went on to Detroit, now defunct racetrack, won the Michigan Mile. He had won the Evan Shipman, the General Sullivan Stakes. Just a really, really nice New York bred, 28 wins and 50 starts. Again, Mike Ferraro and Les Hewlett. So it was fun to talk to Mike out there as well. It was a fun afternoon, again, out at the Finger Lakes. And so just wanted to bring you a little behind the scenes. You saw our cut-ins during the afternoon, but I wanted to give you a feel for the facility as well. All right. They are underway in New York. It's Maggie and Andy. It doesn't look like they've actually started handicapping yet, just doing a little chip chat. So I'm going to wrap it up. First post in New York is 12:10, so I'll be back around noonish or so to kick off OTB Live for a Sunday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in this morning. And again, we'll see you in an hour and a half or so.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances, and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.